One lesson for young people still on Herbert Wigwe'S life and death. There are many lessons of this season. We deal with one here. Please share with especially young people. Since the death of Herbert Wigwe'S wife and son, you have to have lost something in your humanness not to feel it. You do not you do not have you do not need to have met them or known them. The most I know him is you are a talented and excellent person. I know I can say, well, who was headhunted to assist with his project. The person told me good things about him, and I trust her judgment. If you had paid attention, his death is classical. William Shakespeare says, when beggars die, there are no comets seen. The heaven themselves bleeds for the death of princes. It may be safe to say that more persons have known Herbert Wigwe in death than while he lived. May his soul and that of his wife and first son rest in peace. It is possible that his death may have received more media attention than most other things in Nigeria of his time. One aspect that has become important to some persons is the birthday of a lady who is reported as being in the same church or is his pastor or wife of his pastor. I am not sure, but we have learned that Herbert supported their church very well. The video link is below is one of such media conversations that jumped onto my laptop on YouTube and I decided to listen. That became the prompter for this. You may want to listen too. There are lessons here beyond the person who died and the pastor and the church he chose to belong to and to support. One lesson here is about managing human relationships. There are lessons about man in community and in society. There are lessons which young people today need to learn about interpersonal skills and human relationship. Those skills today are in short supply. They may never have been socialized on what is expected of the human person in community and society. In different circumstances, good or bad. This weakness does not exclude some adults who live for themselves. There are moments and there are moments. There are moments to arouse the humanity and humanism in the human. Unfortunately today, the society is filled with people who only remember others when they need help. And after that, they move on as if they do not remember. There are those who remember what they chose to, and forget what they choose to. I have held that some persons have the gifts and grace from the Creator. Or what do I attribute that to? Of selective amnesia and convenient forgetfulness. I am reluctant to admit that they could have been pretentious or mischievous. I do not believe that there are persons whose preference is to be described as bad or evil. People are simply products of their backgrounds, history, socialization from birth, and natural attributes. In other words, the fame, nature, and nurture. Sadly, there are not many examples of persons who easily accept their weakness or change as they pass through life. There are not many cases of examples of the biblical David, who though human has such attributes in Psalm 51. My sins are ever before me. This is not about religious preferences, Christian, Muslim, traditional, or even atheist. This may be found in the relationship between husband and wives, fathers and mothers, and their children. It is found amongst cousins, nieces and nephews, as well as in-laws. It includes father and mothers-in-law, sons and daughters-in-law. Note that in this list I do not include friends, for if someone is truly your friend, he or she will not likely fail on this at certain such moments. They will be there. As one song states, just call my name and I'll be there. Another states that's what friends are for. In good times and in bad time, I will be by your side forevermore. And yet another states, I will be bridge over troubled waters. Ironically, in the list above, fathers and children, husband and wives, siblings, in-laws, uncles, aunts, cousins, nieces and nephews are implicated. So is life. Interestingly, in the Herbert Wigwe'S case, men cried like women and boys. AIG, Sanusi, Dangote, men who many would think of as hard men, wept openly. There is something there. People only confessed favors Herbert did them, lessons. For Christian example, Jesus wept at the death of his friend Lazarus along with his sisters, John 11:35. It is about the human person and consciousness of what is expected of a human being in certain circumstances. In an important way, a Christian manifests when the circumstance calls for what Christ would do in similar circumstance, and not an oral claim to be Christian. Christ said, "By their fruits you will know them." When under deprivation or when in abundance, are you able to unconsciously, without prompting, activate the Christ parameter, or is your Christianity about attending church, midnight prayer, celebrated fasting, all manner of crusade and similar event? But most critically, it seems that there has emerged a new era society that is uncaring and not conscious of the other person and what the circumstance demands. Christians are expected to mourn with those who mourn and rejoice with those who rejoice. Last July 2023, I lost my father. Humanity surprised me by their care and support. Persons I never factored with surprised me. Persons I have nothing to offer anything surprised me. Persons I do not remember to inform days and weeks after felt committed to show sympathy. At the same time, a few persons I expected sympathy from were not there. So is life. What is involved may not be Christianity. It may be each person's consciousness and each person's humanism and each person's interpersonal skills. These weaknesses may indeed be a function of a weakness in childhood socialization. My late mother in my undergraduate days would inform me about those who were bereaved, had a baby, got married, or whatever. Immediately I returned home on holidays, she would ask me to go round and see them. At that young age, I even struggled on what to say to those persons, especially those bereaved. I am not sure there are parents who prompt their children on things like these. When my grandfather died on October 1986, I was certainly, as Prince William, pledged to his father, King Charles, at his coronation. My father's liege man of life and limb, Prince William, I, William, Prince of Wales, pledge my loyalty to you, and faith and truth I will bear unto you. As your liege man of life and limb, so help me God. Prince William kneels before his father, King Charles, in the emotional coronation moment. I was literally in charge. I was everywhere. I was up and doing. When my grandmother died in April 1999, of course, we were old enough, and I told my father and his brother that my siblings and I, children from my mother, would do everything, and all they needed to do was to tell us what they wanted and how they wanted it. That was the old society, or so it seems. Not too long ago, I was at the church funeral service for a well-known professor and an obviously respected man. At this time, his first son was called to say the funeral oration. He was not inside his church, but with his friends outside. I have also seen another prominent man whose son was unable to say anything after being called a number of times in the church funeral service. What this goes to show us is the kind of, people are different. And when things happen like this, you learn. And for people who are still young, it is not too late to learn interpersonal relationship, to build good relationship. There is no excuse not to have good interpersonal relationship and life skills. All right, on this note, we've come to the end of the news. We say thank you for tuning in to listen. Until I come your way next time. Enjoy.